There are certain aspects to the world that I have a rather love-hate relationship with. One, the weird way girls in anime seem to moan every time they eat something slightly tasty or experience any form of pleasure. Love-hate relationship. Love it while I'm all alone. Don't love it when someone walks in the room while I'm watching anime. I'm sure you all relate to some level. And other things that I have a love-hate relationship with would be flexing. When I see someone in real life flexing, it just turns me off. It makes my stomach turn. But when I see an anime character flexing, it is so good, in fact, that it very well deserves one of those, yeah, sex is great and all, but have you seen Escanor knocking a demon lord to his knees and then saying, "Oh, what's going on? Did you drop a coin?" Hell yeah, that's right. Welcome to the biggest flexes in anime 2, covering a bunch more anime flexes that I did not talk about in the first one, and unbeknownst to me before beginning this series, there are a lot of really epic flexes in anime that I didn't even realize why they're as epic as they felt. And you're probably wondering, hey, why am I uploading Biggest Flexes in Anime Part 2 within a week of uploading Biggest Flexes in Anime Part 1? That's because I asked you guys if you could bait 15,000 likes on the last one, I would upload the next one within a week. Yeah, you got 50,000 likes on that video, so here it is within a week, as promised. And since I also told you that I would not give up and I would continue giving you deadlines like this, we'll be bumping up the like-o-meter to 20,000 likes with the catch that it gets 20,000 likes within the first day. And Biggest Flexes in Anime 3 will be out within the week. Aside from that little Escanor flex that I showed you earlier, in the comments of the last video, everyone wanted me to talk about Madara. And Madara Uchiha is one of the greatest, if not the greatest, flexers in all of Naruto. Now, Naruto has Kakashi reading porn magazines while fighting Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura, as well as many other epic flexes that I may show in different videos because I'm only doing one per series per video. Very confusing rules, I know, but if you bear with me, I'm sure you will understand the madness that is Lord Nuxanor. So, the most commonly praised flex of Madara is when Madara not only brought down one meteor, you know, a jutsu that basically outmatched any jutsu we've seen prior in the series, but when he brought down a second meteor. That scene was god-tier awesomeness, and when I read it for the first time in the manga, I felt like I became a man for the first time. That was a metaphor, not completely literally, but also not a complete metaphor. After Madara defeats like 1,000 ninja with taijutsu, which, might I add, is a mad flex. He could have just dropped a meteor on the bastards. But no, he had to show that just with taijutsu alone, he could take him down. Then the Kage are all fighting him and getting bodied. He drops the meteor. It takes all of the Kage's combined effort together to hold the meteor up, just barely preventing it from crushing the entire alliance that was present at that moment. And then he's like, "Oh, that's pretty dope of y'all, but mind if I drop a second meteor?" And of course, he doesn't drop it in the distance. No, he drops it right on top of the first, saying that you can't even stop the first one because of the second one's freaking weight. It didn't even take him time to summon it. He was summoning the second meteor at the same time. It was right above the clouds when Inoki stopped the first one. This scene showed the complete overbearing power of Madara Uchiha, a character that was hyped forever, and it forever will make me respect Madara's introduction as one of the most badass villain introductions in anime. That said, this was not, in my opinion, his biggest flex. This was one of his most epic moments. This was definitely jizz-worthy. A solid 9 out of 10 on the jizzometer, which is a definitely real thing, so you should subscribe for more accurate scaling systems. But the biggest Madara flex, in my personal opinion, was when Madara was fighting the 5 Kage. And you know, he has like a Susanoo, and he makes some wood clones, and everyone's fighting, and Madara's basically annihilating them. They all know they have no chance. They're just kind of going through the motions because they can't just say, "All right, Madara, you win. You can take over the world and stuff." They know they didn't have a chance, but they kept fighting. Kudos to you guys, Kages. Very cool. And Madara fully understood the position he was in. After all these years of planning so that he could finally come back to life and flex on the Kage, he says to them, "Listen, guys, it's your call completely. You know these wood clones which can each individually take down one of you Kage dudes? I leave the option to you. Do you want the wood clones to fight you as they are? Or do you want them to all use Susanos? And the ball's in your court. I mean, whatever you guys want." When an individual wood clone was Kage level, the absolute mad lad had to just show how long his dick actually is and give them the option to choose if they would like every single one of these individual wood clones to make a Susanoo, which would completely annihilate the Kages even further than it actually was before. This is the biggest Madara flex, in my personal opinion, in the entire Naruto series. It's my favorite flex in Naruto. Well, maybe second favorite, but you'll have to wait for my favorite Naruto flex in my biggest flexes in anime video 3, if this gets 20,000 likes within a day, so definitely subscribe and like. But Madara asking the Kage while overpowering them if they want him to use Susanoo with all of his wood clones was just too beautiful for me. And it wasn't done to increase his combat prowess, no. It was purely to flex on the Kage, telling them exactly how badass of an overpowered monster Madara actually is. Now, to go from extreme to extreme, here's a flex from One Piece. You know Kaido, king of the beasts, one of the 4 emperors, known as the strongest man alive right now, even though he probably isn't, but that's irrelevant. This guy is an absolute mad lad. He has a devil fruit that can transform him into something that's very cool. That's spoiler for anime only, so I won't say. However, what is known to everyone is that Kaido attempts suicide on a regular basis. Personally, I don't think that's really flexing all too much on its own, but if you let me elaborate what this truly means, I think you'll fully agree with what I have to say. Now, being that Kaido has a devil fruit, the dude can literally drown in a bowl of soup. So killing himself is not exactly the biggest issue here. It's how he goes about attempting, air quotes, to kill himself that makes him the most awesome flexer potentially in One Piece. The guy goes on top of a sky island just to jump off, which is thousands of feet in the air, smashes into an island below him, making such a massive smoke cloud. The smoke is taller than the mountains on the island he landed in. He falls on this island and creates such a massive crater that he literally has to climb out of this crater for a while to reach the surface due to how powerful the impact was, and it did nothing to him. He was captured, whether by his own will or not, 18 times, and he was sentenced to death 40 times. My take is he let that happen to flex on the world. When he was hanged, the chain broke. When he was supposed to be decapitated, the guillotine broke. He was supposed to be impaled by a spear. The spear shattered on him. He destroyed 9 prison ships while being held prisoner, damn it. The dude wanted the world to know, and you know I'm serious because I said the world, not Zawarudo, that no one could kill him, not even himself. Now that is the ultimate flexing, basically done for the sole purpose of letting the world know exactly how much of a monster this bastard is. Not for any of the 7 deadly sins, you know, the personal gains, lust, greed, envy, sloth, or whatever. No, the dude just wanted to flex on the world and get them wet in their panties that this dude actually exists. He's basically saying, look, I'm much stronger than you, and I can't even kill myself. In fact, even when I give myself for you to kill me, you can't kill me. Now shiver! That's Kaido the King and the Beast, ladies and gentlemen. One of the biggest flexers in One Piece. The next flex I wanted to talk about was from Yugioh, and it was a nice happy duel between Yami versus Weevil. No, not the first time. No, not the second time. But Yami versus Weevil in the Orichalcos arc. Not the most glamorous and respected arc in the entire series, but this duel was pretty lit nonetheless. Now, you probably all know what I'm referring to if you've seen Yu-Gi-Oh, because this scene was beautiful. Yami was very pissed at Weevil because he just lost part of his soul. Whatever. We don't need to discuss what the entire arc was about, but he had this ability, thanks to one of his spell cards, that he totally did not cheat and make up the rules to in the middle of the game. And this is totally how it works in real life, that he could draw a card. If it's a monster card, his monster can attack, and he can draw again. If it's a monster again, his monster can attack again, and he can draw again. And the cycle goes forth until he draws a non-monster card. Sounds good? Cool. Well, in these games with the Seal of Orichalcos going on, when you defeat your opponent, they lose their soul, and also, of course, they feel the damage that you inflict on their life points. Physically, just like every other permutation of Yu-Gi-Oh! Duels, where you destroy their monster and they start shrieking and land on their knees and scream and stuff. You know, typical card game stuff. In any case, Yugi beats Weevil, and after even beating Weevil, he continues drawing cards, and it's Duro Monster Cardo! Slashes Weevil again. Continues drawing monster card after monster card after monster card, using the power of friendship, luck, and cheating, setting the deck exactly so that he can draw the next card that he wants every single time. so he can keep drawing, keep hacking away at Weevil, even though his life points were done. There was no purpose to this. On a meta level, Weevil already lost the game, but Yami kept hacking away at him just because he could. Truthfully, I wasn't sure whether or not I wanted to include this scene, because on the one hand, it's not like Yugi was doing a badass flex. He just kind of was in a really dark place mentally, and therefore it pushed him over the edge so he would continue hacking away at him just because he could, even past the realm of the duel. Which is like kind of sad, and not an actual flexing. It's just like, oh, poor Yami, his head space is not exactly the healthiest. But on the other hand, he was hacking away at Weevil, and Weevil is like one of the most annoying characters at all time that I don't relate to whatsoever, and I don't resemble at all. Shut up. So just purely due to the fact that he was doing it to Weevil makes this totally okay for me. An epic flex entirely. Let's move on to the next one. And this one is from My Hero Academia. Everyone knows that all these superheroes have like quirks and shiz, right? It's essentially their superpowers. Bakugo makes explosions. Todoroki makes explosions. All Might punches shiz and makes explosions. You know, wide variety of stuff going on here. But one is above all the rest in the art of flexing. And that is Zero, Tape Guy, because as we know, Tape is not the most cool quirk of all time. The guy could sort of swing around like Spider-Man, but downside, he could never wear long sleeve shirts or it makes him completely useless. Why do I mention him? Because the only tape strong enough to uphold his body weight, that's right, the only tape that can really do a lot of damage is Flex Tape. Thank you. One of my best memes of all time. No one saw this one coming. Zero uses Flex Tape. Get it? Because Flex Tape, it does a lot of damage. Anyway, moving on.
Hey, Nux, so please don't make another Flex Tape joke. Please don't. That was painful. I'm hurt physically. I might die of the cringe. Help.
And I really wanted to talk about this one here. It's my boy Dio, and my personal favorite flex of Lordio, even though he has many throughout, in fact. Just warning you, it's even better of a flex than Kakyoin's. You know, Kakyoin's, no one dodges Emerald Splash! Yeah, it's an even better flex than that. It's when Dio is kind of sitting upstairs, and Polnareff is walking up the stairs to go attack him, and as Polnareff is walking up, he realizes that every time he takes 2 steps, he's actually 2 steps lower on the staircase than before. It is the most ominous, creepy shiz ever, because we do not know what Dio's stand is. All we know is that for whatever reason, this reality-bending ability has Polnareff scared shiteless. The guy takes 2 steps up the stairs, the next thing he knows it, he's 2 steps lower. Takes 2 more steps up the stairs, he's 2 steps lower again, back where he started. It is frankly terrifying, because we know nothing of this ability. All we know is that it is messing with Polnareff's mind. Now, Dio could have defeated Polnareff, potentially. Maybe Dio had some other trick up his sleeve to do something else. We don't know. All we know is that bad vibes are going on right here, but when we learn exactly what Dio's ability is, it makes this so much of a better flex. Honestly, it puts almost everything else to shame. Dio's ability is Zawarudo. It allows him to stop time, where he can move freely for 5 seconds while everyone else's time is halted. Now, in this world of stop time, he can essentially go and kill anyone, as he does to many passersby and, you know, some mainish characters that we won't talk about for spoilery reasons. But now that you know what his power actually is, you understand that Polnareff is walking up 2 steps, Dio is using Zawarudo, freezing time, he's quickly within 5 seconds running down the steps, picks up Polnareff, moves him down 2 steps, puts him down, runs back upstairs, probably giggling, hides behind the corner, time starts again, Polnareff realizes he's 2 steps lower, Polnareff is like freaking out and shiz, takes 2 more steps, Dio stops time, runs back down, picks him up, moves him down 2 steps, puts him down, starts giggling and shiz, runs back up, hides behind the corner. Do you understand what is going on here? Do you understand how much effort Dio had to put into this little charade just to scare the schnizzle out of Polnareff? He could have killed him right then and there. Be done with it. In fact, if he would have killed him then and there, Polnareff would have interrupted his fight with Jotaro later and it would have been much better. Not the point. The point is, I could just so imagine Dio giggling behind a pillar. Polnareff walks up 2 steps, freezes time, runs up to the bastard, moves him down 2 steps and positions him in the same position just to psych him out that, holy flip, I just walked up 2 stairs. Why am I still back down here? That is master flexing right there. And it goes without saying that this is one of the greatest flexes in all of anime, and potentially all time. He chose, instead of killing him, to scare the heck out of him out of Dio's pure power. Polnareff was more terrified of Dio at that moment than ever before, and that is the utter shutter of Dio's flexing. That is how to properly use your stand's OP broken hacks ability. The next one we'll be talking about here is from the 7 Deadly Sins, and well, I devoted a nice happy portion in my latest 7 Deadly Sins video to Escanor. I will not be talking about him here. There is one flex in the 7 Deadly Sins that I think goes unnoticed, even though it's one of the greatest flexes ever, and it's Ban. Ban does not flex a lot. It's just not his style. He's a happy-go-lucky, rambunctious dude, aside from the fact that he's very depressed and stuff. Watch my analyses on Ban. He's one of the greatest anime characters of all time. However, when the 7 Deadly Sins broke up before the series began, Ban decided, I'm bored and I'm a bit of a masochist, so I'm gonna let these really creepy Holy Knight guys capture me so that they could torture me, because it's more fun than doing absolutely nothing. So he lets them capture him. He's being tortured and shiz. He hears Meliodas is fine. He's like, oh, sick, I'm gonna break out now. Breaks out, no problemo, and now, of course, he has this big flowing white beard. And Apprentice Holy Knight Jericho stops him and is like, stop there, foul fiend. You are one of the 7 Deadly Sins, a very wanted man. I, as an Apprentice Holy Knight, will defeat you. And I totally could, and this is totally not just me trying to be cool, even though I have no chance. Ban's like, sure thing, Whammon, try it. And like the good shonen Whammon she is, she rushes at him, she attacks him, she slashes at him like a dozen times, goes past him samurai style, and sheaths her sword all cool-like. And then Ban turns around to reveal that he perfectly dodged every single one of her slashes to just perfectly shave his beard down to his face perfectly, and he's completely uninjured by all of her slashes and attempts. He then completely destroys her in a single moment of battle because he's one of the 7 Deadly Sins and she is a mere shonen Whammon. Now, Ban has instant regeneration. The guy could just rip off his cheek and it'll grow back without a beard. He also likes pain, so it's not like that's a problem for him. When Jericho attacked him, instead of him just barely dodging all those blows to perfectly shave his beard, he could have just, like, you know, caught Jericho by the throat or by the hilt of her sword or something and thrown her to the ground if he really wanted to defeat her. But no, he has such a beautiful sense of humor that he wanted to hilariously flex on the Whammon, saying, not only am I strong enough to stop you, not only am I strong enough to dodge you, but I am strong and fast enough to perfectly dodge your multitude of attacks and give me the ultimate perfect shave. Thank you for helping me. Now I'm gonna destroy you in the most kind-hearted, loving way possible, because Ban is a true gentleman and best girl in the 7 Deadly Sins. I love this shaving scene. It's Ban's sense of humor incarnate, and it's also a pretty freaking dope flex, if I do say so myself. Now, this next flex may catch you off guard because it's one of the best flexes ever, even though it widely goes unnoticed. And honestly, those are some of my favorite flexes. The flexes that only once you think about them, they are exceedingly badass. This is definitely one of those, and it is from one of the greatest anime of all time, Hunter x Hunter. So, as we know, Kurapika, not a huge fan of the Phantom Troop. In fact, he pretty much wants them all dead, and he wants to be the one to kill them, because there is no two-dimensional character in the entirety of the Hunter x Hunter series. Kurapika sets it up in a fashion that he would be fighting Uvogin, one of the powerful members of the Phantom Troop, in a one-on-one battle, and he knows that he will fight until he dies, or until his opponent is dead. That is the type of fight that he intended on getting into, because he is relentless in this regard. If you've seen Hunter x Hunter, you more than understand the passion emanating from Kurapika, and you also more than understand exactly how terrifyingly overpowered Uvogin is. It's gonna be an entire entry in a future flex video, how he single-handedly fought the entire mafia, who themselves got plenty of hype. But this is just so simple, I had to include this one here. Kurapika went to fight Uvogin, and he brought along a shovel. Yes, that is next level flexing. When you know you're gonna beat your opponent so badly that you're preparing for burying his corpse before the fight even begins, especially against such an overpowered opponent, that you bring a shovel to the battlefield. Now how can you compare anime with any other medium? This is ultimate perfection of flexing, and most people probably didn't even realize how amazing of a flex it is. People should be getting daily reminders that Kurapika brought a shovel to fight Uvogin just purely due to how badass that is and how amazing of a flex it is. Can you imagine? You're preparing your whole life, training to fight an opponent. Your opponent is about to fight you, and he comes to the battlefield carrying a shovel? If that's not amazing haphazard flexing, I don't know what is. And the final entry to this video, I want to talk about one of the greatest anime women that also goes unnoticed, Shigure from history's mightiest disciple Kenichi. Now, I will not be talking about this in length due to the spoilery nature of the scene. However, the flex in itself is more than enough to get the point across. Now, Kenichi is more or less about this dude named Kenichi. I know, really original, right? And he goes to join Ryuzanpaku, which is this really crazy martial art dojo place with a lot of really kooky masters that are all ridiculously overpowered, and they all train him in different martial arts because Kenichi, who is a total wuss, wants to become badass, mostly to impress a girl, but the incentive is irrelevant. Point is, the bastard works really hard to try to become something. Being that each of these masters have a specialty, Shigure is the weapons master. She trains him the art of using any weapon, be it a sword, a chain sickle, nunchuck, shuriken, you name it. Shigure is the master of weapons. So there's this really crazy evil organization called Ragnarok, and just like every other anime, they're trying to take over the world. Okay, maybe not exactly, but they're an evil organization. They're really strong. Everyone's scared of them. They're like this gang and shiz. They all also do martial arts, and Shigure happens to bump into some of them. Now, for the most part, the gang fights between teenagers are between teenagers. They don't really involve adults for the most part, so Kenichi is a heavy player in this game, whereas his masters don't for the most part get involved themselves. By chance, Shigure happens to be around, and Kenichi says to her, don't hurt them. Don't use any weapons that can really damage them. So Shigure, of course, says okay, because she's not gonna hurt some kids, and the people that she's fighting are all laughing, ha, like that random old woman can hurt us epic Ragnarok members that are really cool and shiz. And of course, they try to flex on Shigure, and that's when Shigure, the weapons master, not only defeats them, but cuts all their clothes to shreds with a spoon. Yes, Shigure defeats these hyped, flexing opponents with the weakest form of cutlery. That is why Shigure is best girl in Kenichi, one of the best girls in anime. That's why I highly recommend you watch Kenichi. And if defeating a bunch of jeering opponents with a spoon alone is not enough of a flex for you, I don't know what is. And this will kind of count as like sort of an honorable mention, but the biggest flex in all of anime is probably when I, Lord Nuxanor, in a tournament bracket debating the best isekai anime, managed to meme Digimon to win. Because Digimon is truly the greatest isekai anime of all time. Me literally flexing on all the non-believers. Digimon made it. That was very awesome. Sorry, other YouTubers who were on that bracket that unfortunately had to suffer me being victorious through the power of memes. In any case, hate to flex on you guys, but I work really freaking hard, and I'm really excited to upload Biggest Flexes in Anime Part 3 within a week of this video hitting 20,000 likes, provided that it gets there within the first day. Yes, it is my evil plan giving you incentive to leave likes, but also higher chance you're gonna fail and maybe I'll get to sleep this week more, which would be very cool. This is one of my favorite series I've ever worked on because it is so fun for me personally to talk about some of my favorite scenes in anime unadulterated. Definitely subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and if you're hoping for future videos of this sort and of other sorts, be it analysis or satire, whatever. Point is, subscribe. Link in the description to my Twitter. Feel free to follow me there. Link in the description to my Patreon. It would really help if you donated there, and all patrons are invited to the Discord server. And link also in the description to a friend of mine, All Day Anime. Aside from being a Kenichi fanboy, so if you like Kenichi, check him out. We're going to be doing tournament bracket style, debating which of these 8 flexes was the best flex. So link to his channel is in the description. We'll be doing that over there. Feel free to send him my love in the comments. We did one of those tournament bracket things on my last Biggest Flexes in Anime. The winner may not surprise you. And if you have not seen my first Biggest Flexes in Anime video, definitely check that out as well as my other shiz. Hope you have yourselves a most wonderful evening. And remember to stay weird, fam.